Stampers, Rose Coleman, independent demonstrator in Canada, and today I have a fun card box video to share with you. I want to share with you how to make this fun little box. I'm just untying the ribbon here. That will hold up to, I would say, 5 or 6 cards with embellishments and the envelopes. This would make a fun, easy card box to put your cards in and give them as a gift. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with a piece of petal pink cardstock that measures 10¼ inches by 6 inches. I'm going to pull in my Simply Scored board, and we're going to score this cardstock at 4½ inches and 5 5/8. So 4½ and 5 5/8. So you're going to have this shape when you're done. Okay, that's the outside of my card box. For the inside portion of my card box, I have a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock, and it measures 4 inches by 11 inches. I'm going to place it into my Simply Scored board, and I'm going to score it at 2 1/4, 3 1/4, 7 3/4, and 8 3/4. I'm going to turn my cardstock, and I'm going to score it the long side, down the long side at 1 inch. Okay, and that's all the cutting and scoring that you need for this box. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the inside portion of my box. I'm going to reinforce all of those score lines, and you can use a bone folder. That always gives you nice, good creases. So I'm just going to pull in my bone folder here and get those creases nice and crisp. Just like that. And I'm going to use my paper snips, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut on these 4 small score lines right here, and I'm just going to cut up to the intersection at that 1 inch line. And I'm also going to take a little corner off of each of these pieces. This just helps my box to go together nicer. It'll actually make it go together more square. So I'm just going to miter those corners. Quickly do that. And one more. There we go. Okay, so now we have a piece that looks like this. I'm going to bring in my tear tape, and I'm going to put tear tape on this flap here. So just along the outside edge of this flap, I'm going to tear that, and then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to put tear tape along these 2 end rectangles. So this one and then this one. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then over here. Tear tape is super strong, so you definitely want to use something that will hold up your box. So I'm just going to burnish that tear tape. And then I'm also going to put a piece of tear tape just on this rectangle right here. And you'll see why in a second when I go to put together my card box. Okay, so we've got our tear tape on here. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to bring in, I like to use a paper piercer to lift the wax from my tear tape. Just going to lift that wax up like that. And I'm going to fold up the bottom portion of my box first. So these 2 little tiny flaps, they're going to fold in. And then these bigger flaps are just going to come down like this. And you just want to straighten this up and hold it steady, and just take the bottom flap and fold it up like that. So you've got a rectangular bottom. And then you can either put your fingers in and press it down, or you can use your bone folder to help you burnish that, to get that adhesive to stick. And now I'm just going to take my paper piercer again and quickly peel off all the wax covering from my tear tape. Like that. And then that side piece like that. Okay, so there I have my little box. This is what's going to go inside. I'm going to bring back the flap now, and I'm going to line this up with the bottom side down here. So I'm going to line this up down here, and when I've got it lined up, I can press that down with my hand, and then I'm going to just fold up the spine like that and press that down. And now this is going to be my little card box holder. Actually, let's just fix this one. Just push that in a little tiny bit. There we go. Okay, so now I've got my little box holder. I want to wrap some ribbon around it. So I'm going to take my tear tape like this. I'm just going to tear off a piece, I don't know, probably about 6 inches long. And I'm going to wrap that around the center of my box, just like this, on the outside edge. This is going to be for my ribbon closure. So I'm just going to burnish that a little bit, and then again, peel off that wax covering. Now, I'm just going to stand that for a second, and I'm going to measure some ribbon. So I need about 24 or 20 inches of ribbon. I'm using the polka dot tulle ribbon. I love this. This is one of my favorite ribbons in the catalog. Okay, so I'm just going to take it and I folded it in half. So this is my middle point here. I want to take the middle point and I'm going to put it in the middle of my card box. And I'm going to wrap those ribbons, one along the front and then one along the back, like that. Now I just want to do some decorating on the front of my box. So I have a piece of Mossy Meadow that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I also have a piece of Whisper White that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. I'm going to mount those together, mat them together, and then I can put those onto the front of my card box. So I'm going to put that down like that. I also have from the Petal Promenade paper, designer series paper, a 1 1/4 inch by 4 inch strip. I'm just going to put that on the left-hand side of my layers here, just like this. There we go. Whoops. And this is the beauty of Tombow glue. Tombow glue is super sticky, but it is forgiving in the first few seconds. So you can shimmy it around and straighten it up. There we go. So that's my card front. And then I'm just going to add some Tombow glue along the edges and mount that right onto the front of my box. I'll bring back my box and then I'll just line this up on the front and then just gently press it so that that glue has a chance to adhere. There we go. Now I just need a greeting, so I'm going to stamp from the Part of My Story stamp set. I really like this stamp that says, "Here's to those who inspire us and they don't even know it." So I have that one mounted, and I'm going to grab a piece of scrap cardstock. I'm going to ink this up with Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to stamp it right on here. I'm going to bring in my story label punch, and I'm going to punch that out like that. I also have Petal Pink, this color, Petal Pink ink. So I'm going to use that. I have a sponge designated for that color, so I'm going to use that to sponge the edges of my piece. Just softens that up a little bit and brings all those colors from the cardstock in, ties it all together, and then I'm going to mount that on to my card with using a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals. Grab a couple of those, like so, and I'll bring back my card box. I'll put that right on the front. And then to embellish my card box, I'm going to use one of the embellishments from the Blossom Elements. And I've used up all my, I'll bring in my cards and show you in a second, but I've used up the petal pink ones, but I still like these darker pink ones. So I'm going to use one of those with a glue dot. So bring in my glue dots, and I like to take the flower and lay it on the glue dot, whoops, and pick up that adhesive. Then when I pick up the flower, it's already attached, and I'm going to add that right here in the corner. And there is my fun card box. So let me show you the cards that I'm going to put in my box. I made some cards on my Facebook Friday video using the same stamp set, and that's the petal pink flowers. I'm so glad you're a part of my story, just going vertically instead of all the other stamps go horizontally. So all of these cards plus the envelopes will fit. I'm just going to grab my envelopes, and I'm going to open up this little card box and slip these in and see how nice and neat that looks. And then I can take my ribbon and tie a nice bow on the side, and this will be ready for a fun gift for a teacher or a friend, a nice thank you for a Girl Guide leader, or you know, anybody. So there's my fun box. I hope you will try your hand at this. It's super easy, and you will consider giving a box of cards as a gift to someone you love. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope you'll come back and join me for another video.